Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil mursaleen Sayyidina Muhammadin wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A few days ago I had a conversation with a brother who called me saying that for the last few days he'd been feeling very down, very sad. Not normal sadness, more than that, extreme sadness or deep sadness. It wasn't really speaking to anyone outside work, didn't feel like going anywhere, wasn't really eating that well in the evenings, and sometimes crying, and his family were getting quite concerned. So he thought something might be up, and we talked about it. We discussed his feelings, and we traced back to when he started first having these feelings, and I kind of figured it out because there's a common event which has happened the last kind of week, which many people I know in our community have been feeling down about. And it's a really beautiful brother that we know who is in extremely poorly way in terms of his health, and we've been making dua for him. We've been lots of people making dua for him and for his recovery, but I think that impacted him, and the first thing I said to him is that, look, we always tend to think of sadness as something really negative. Don't be sad. We tend to want to always be happy. We want to always be laughing and joyous. But I said to him that in reality, sadness is not as bad as we think, in the sense that it's a necessity of life. You can't be happy all the time, and you only know true joy through knowing the opposite, which is true sadness. In Ramadan, when we used to open our fast, that first drink of water, what did it feel like, right? If you've never fasted, then you will not know what it feels like to drink water after 20 hours of not drinking. That glass of water does not feel the same when you're not fasting and you drink water. Okay, so when you're deprived of something, you know the benefit of it. When you get illness, you then really feel the benefit of well-being. And when you have sadness, you know what that feels like. Then when you appreciate the times where you were happy. And so the first thing I said to him is, I said, look, is this sadness justified? And so we explored that, because the first question always is, I'm feeling this way, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling whatever emotion it is, frustration. Is that a justified reaction? Is it what's actually caused that? And a lot of times I think what happens is we feel emotions, but we don't know, we can't pinpoint why you're feeling like that. And I said to him, I said, look, sadness and all these emotions that we feel, this is part of us being human beings. This is part of our humanity. This is, if we didn't have emotions, then there's something not really human about us. There's something missing. And if you look at the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there's a year, it's actually called the year of sorrow, where Abu Talib, his uncle, and Khadija radiallahu anha, his first wife, passes away. And that sadness remained in his heart for Khadija throughout his life. He always remembered her with fondness and with love. But the thing is, that sadness, was it justified? Yes, it was absolutely justified. His protector had lost his protector. He'd lost his beloved wife of 25 years, who had borne him all his children apart from one. So that was a justified sadness. So I said, look, is your sadness justified? Always ask yourself that question. First of all, work out, why am I feeling sad? So he couldn't work out why he was feeling sad. It was only when we, through questioning, he realised, yeah, it's because of this. So the first thing is always to work out, why am I feeling like that? And the second thing is, am I justified? And we came to the conclusion, yes, because we love this brother, we want the best for this brother, we feel for him, we feel for his family, we feel also for the community, because this brother done a lot of good work for the community, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep him with us, because we want the benefit to remain in the community. So I said, look, this is a justified sadness that you're feeling. So that's always the first thing to think of. Am I actually justified in feeling anger or sadness or whatever it is? Where is the cause of it? Why am I feeling this? Because I think many times we don't do enough self-reflection to really think of why we're feeling the way we're feeling. coming back to the Prophet ﷺ, so that sadness, however, so it's normal to be sad from time to time. It's normal to be down from time to time. However, this brother still went to work. Okay, so sadness is not depression. Sadness, the Prophet ﷺ is sad, but he still goes to Ta'if after that to call the people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the sadness, it was deep. He felt it within his entire being, but it did not stop him from his role that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given him. So the sadness doesn't stop us from doing what we're supposed to be doing in life. It's not that kind of, we don't react by, I can't get out of bed, right? No, we get on with, we feel it, we feel it throughout the day, we know it's there, we acknowledge it, but we still get on with what our duties are to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to our community, our family, and so on. And so I think that's the first thing I would like to say about this idea of sadness. Another thing is, I said, look at, because we got into the discussion of Ertugrul. He said he watched a few episodes of Ertugrul to get his mind off things. I know a lot of people watch this series. In fact, Pakistan, it's taken off. That's another discussion. But the thing I said about Ertugrul, I said, look, they go through lots of difficulties. They're always going through difficulties. But what is their attitude, right? Every time Ertugrul goes off, there's some sort of fighting happening. They know that they may not return back. Their families know they may not return back, but they have reliance on God, and also they know that this world is temporary. That the real world is the next world, and they're ready. They're ready at every moment to leave. And I said that one of the problems is that it's almost like they wear, they say they wear it on the sleeve, yeah. So they've kind of resigned to the fact that, yeah, I'm doing this for the sake of Allah, and if my life goes, then so be it. Okay. And this is the attitude I think we should have. I said that one of the problems we have is that we don't think about death, and we don't talk about death as much as possible. In fact, it wasn't just this brother. There's a couple of other cases that I dealt with this week which were also about death. And so I said, look, we just do not talk about it enough. So it's not enough of a reality. So I'll give you an example. How many of us sit down with our elders and start saying, look, once, planning after death, that inheritance and what it's a lot of people, they come to me and they say that my father's died, I didn't even know this existed, that existed, we don't know this was given to this person, but we don't know, it was an inheritance, was it, what is it, is it a gift? And there's a lot of confusion occurs, and I have to explain the difference between a gift during the lifetime and inheritance afterwards, and also there's tax implications, etc. So really, in reality, people should sit down, have a will, discuss with their family what they have, what they're leaving behind, what they're going to gift in their lifetime, what they're going to leave for the inheritors. There's up to a third that you can give away to non-inheritors. All of those things have to be discussed in advance, and it's the attitude I think we have to have is so in terms of our emotions, we've got to acknowledge our emotions, not run away from our emotions, and then when we understand what's going on within ourselves, then we say, okay, what is the response? How am I supposed to respond to this emotion that I'm feeling? In other words, what is the correct way to respond to this emotion? Like I said, the sadness that the Prophet felt did not stop him from doing his duties. And we have du'as as well. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min hammi wal hazan. Oh Allah, I seek refuge in you from concern and sadness. So these are things which are part and parcel of life. But we have to live in this world. There's a statement, sometimes they say it's a statement of Sayyidina Ali, that work for this world as if you will live forever, and work for the hereafter as if you will die tomorrow. Meaning that we don't think, oh, I might die at any point, I might leave this world at any point, I'm not going to do anything because there's no point. No, that's not the attitude. We keep working as if we're going to be here for a long, long time. Okay, so we get on with our projects, doing whatever we have to do. However, we work for the hereafter as if we were leaving tomorrow. In other words, I'm always in a state where I'm preparing myself, I'm ready. If I have to go, if my Lord calls me, then I'm prepared to leave this world. So I think we need to just really think about our emotions a bit more. It's absolutely human to have emotions and to feel them. So we shouldn't run away from our feelings. What we need to do is explore our feelings. Okay, so we need to explore our feelings. Don't shut down. Don't shut down, because then you're just like, it's still there, but you're just cutting yourself off from it. No, explore, why am I feeling like this? Where is it coming from? Okay, and how do I now get myself out of this state? Okay, what do I need to do to change my state, that I will no longer feel that feeling, I'll feel something else. And through the discussion and the conversation, I checked up on him the day after. I said, how was last night? And he said, much, much better. Because one of the things he realised, because he thought this is a completely negative thing, and so did his family, but I said, well, what is that feeling? What has it led you to conclude? And he said, well, I'm really thinking about this world. I'm thinking about, okay, I'm doing this project, that project, but what benefit is it going to be for the community? What benefit is going to be for my life to come? So I said, well, if you think about it, look at the conclusion. The conclusion of that feeling has led you to something which is positive, which is actually something good. And this is the thing, when you feel sad, you turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you have these emotions, you turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you pour your heart out to Him. So that is expression of your ubudiyah, your slavehood to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the fact that your need, and ad-du'a mukhul ibadah, as the Prophet said, dua is the pinnacle of worship. So the great good actually comes out of emotions. Sometimes we feel are things that we should run away from. We should not run away from them. We should acknowledge them, live with those emotions, and then we do the most appropriate thing, which is asked of us from our Lord. And inshallah, these things obviously don't always last anyway. So emotions come and go; they don't last forever. So that's the other thing as well. And we should be happy enough to acknowledge these things, to work at them, explore ourselves, explore our feelings, connect with our humanness, and inshallah continue to be human beings that feel everything, feel all emotions. So we should not run away from these things. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to regulate our emotions, to really understand ourselves better, because they say whoever knows themselves knows their Lord. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam taslim kathira. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.